Honourable Member for Regina West-Canada.
People who have known me for a long time will know that I've always been a big sports fan. And like many people my age who grew up in Western Canada, I have many fond memories of Wayne Gretzky and the Edmonton Oilers and their Stanley Cup dynasty of the 1980s. One of the most entertaining parts about sports has to be the post-game interviews, especially with the coach of the losing team. Often you'll hear the coach of the losing team say, you know what, the team had a decent third period, but the team just didn't show up to play in the first two periods of the game. And by the time the team started to play well in the third period, there just wasn't enough time left on the clock to win the game. Madam Speaker, I see a lot of similarities between those defeated hockey coaches in their post-game interviews with the way this government has been handling the Enbridge Line 5 pipeline dispute. On June 27, 2019, the government of Michigan filed a lawsuit in state court to have Enbridge Line 5 shut down. That means that for this government, on June 27, 2019, the puck dropped and the clock on the scoreboard started ticking. Unfortunately, Madam Speaker, we are not talking today about a hockey game. We are talking about tens of thousands of jobs in both Eastern and Western Canada. Madam Speaker, the Enbridge Line 5 pipeline transports 500,000 barrels a day of Saskatchewan and Alberta oil to Eastern Canada through the state of Michigan. It connects to Sarnia, Ontario, where 6,500 refinery workers depend on this pipeline for their livelihood. The refined petroleum products go on to supply half of Ontario and Quebec's gasoline, diesel, and home heating fuel, as well as 100% of the jet fuel for Pearson International Airport. Madam Speaker, the jobs of tens of thousands of Canadians depend on the continued operation of this pipeline. This is an issue that the Prime Minister should have raised directly with President Trump in 2019 or in 2020. After Joe Biden was elected president last November, the Prime Minister should have raised this issue with him shortly after his inauguration in January. But Madam Speaker, here we are, nearly 2 years after the government of Michigan filed its lawsuit. That's nearly 2 years after the puck dropped. And where is the Prime Minister in this game? Madam Speaker, the Prime Minister hasn't even laced up his skates yet. The Prime Minister hasn't even gotten onto the ice yet. The Prime Minister hasn't even done any pre-game warm-ups yet. And here we are, late in the third period, with just 8 days left before the state of Michigan shuts down Enbridge Line 5, and then it's game over for tens of thousands of Canadian jobs. But fortunately, Madam Speaker, there is still time left on the clock. There is still the 1977 Transit Pipeline Treaty between our two countries, which prevents a U.S. state from shutting down an international pipeline unilaterally. But this treaty has to be enforced. Madam Speaker, why has the Prime Minister not yet had a direct phone call with President Biden specifically on the issue of enforcing the 1977 Transit Pipeline Treaty between our two countries? Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Natural Resources.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I want to thank the Honourable Member for raising such an important issue. The Government of Canada certainly shares his concerns about Line 5. Its vital North American economic artery, as he mentioned, carries 540,000 barrels a day of essential energy products and brings Western Canada petroleum products to refineries in central Canada and the U.S. Midwest. En fait,
as a matter of fact, this is one of those issues that affects us all. Taking a Team Canada approach to the Governor of Michigan's attempt to shut it down. This consensus is reflected in the excellent interim report we are now considering from the Special Committee on the Economic Relationship between Canada and the United States. a report that highlights the real sense of solidarity among witnesses and members of all parties.
Madam Speaker, the Governor of Michigan based her opposition on concerns about the safety of a short stretch of the line of the Straits of Mackinac. This is the body of water connecting Lake Huron to Lake Michigan. 2 points. First, Canadians care as deeply as Americans about the integrity of our Great Lakes. Full stop. Ensuite,
secondly, Line 5 has an unblemished safety record in the strait. What's more, Enbridge monitors this line in this location 24/7. And the company is providing additional assurance through its Great Lakes Tunnel project. That initiative would embed Line 5 in a concrete tunnel buried in the lake bed, making a safe pipeline even safer.
et rendra le pipeline sécuritaire encore plus sécuritaire. Madam Speaker, we're making our message clear in both Michigan and Washington, D.C. The Prime Minister raised our concerns during his virtual summit with President Biden in February. The Minister of Natural Resources is pressing the issue with Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm. So are also our diplomats in the U.S. Capitol and in Michigan. Notre argument principal.
Our main argument is that the continued operation of Line 5 is in everyone's interest on both sides of the border. It's definitely in the interest of thousands of people whose jobs depend on it.
Feedstock from this pipeline supplies the state's refinery. It's a source of more than half of Michigan's propane, heating thousands of homes and businesses. It's also the source of most of the jet fuel used at the Detroit Metro Airport also. In fact, Madam Speaker, a new report from the American Petroleum Institute highlights the critical and growing importance of cross-border energy trade with the two nations. In conclusion, that in the U.S., this trade most benefits 6 states, 4 of them in the Midwest region, Illinois, Minnesota, Indiana, and yes, Michigan. Madam Speaker, we believe this conflict will be resolved. Enbridge and Michigan are currently engaged in court-mandated mediation, and we fully support the parties working to a constructive resolution.
President Biden and the Prime Minister have formally recognized the economic and energy security benefits of our bilateral energy relationship. They referred to our highly integrated infrastructure as a key component of our shared prosperity and security. They also agreed, Madam Speaker, to work together on our post-pandemic recovery. This recovery can lead... Your time is up.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. When it comes to the Enbridge Line 5 pipeline dispute, I would think that the Transit Pipeline Treaty should have been one of the first plays in the Team Canada playbook. This treaty between Canada and the United States was signed in 1977 when Pierre Trudeau was Prime Minister. One of its biggest advocates in the U.S. was a rookie senator from Delaware by the name of Joe Biden, who of course is the current president. To stay with our hockey analogy, bringing this treaty and its enforcement to the forefront should have been done in the first period of the game, shortly after the opening face-off, and not left until overtime or the shootout. When is the Prime Minister going to stand up for international law, stand up for tens of thousands of working Canadians, and save Enbridge Line 5?
L'honorable secrétaire parlementaire.
The Honourable Parliamentary Secretary to the Minister of Natural Resources. Madam Speaker, I want to emphasize that we're encouraged by Team Canada's approach to the Canada-US Special Committee, by provincial and municipal governments, by the Canadian Chamber of Commerce and the construction unions, by experts on Canada-US relations.
I also want to cite some comments of at the committee from Senator of Enbridge Executive, a senior executive, Vern Yu. A disruption, he said, would hurt both economies, triggering energy shortages and threaten high-paying jobs in both countries. And for what purpose, Madam Speaker? He asserts that Line 5 is the most scrutinized pipeline in North America, and he consistently has found that this pipeline is fit for service on the Straits of Mackinac. Merci.
Thank you. Good evening.